Hello and welcome to this Kosh training video brought to you by Delphis Eco. This is a guide on how to use our products as safely as possible. Before we get started, I'm just going to run through the topics that we'll cover today. So first, we will ask, why do we clean? What's the point of cleaning? Then we will ask, what is Kosh? Which will lead us to the question, what is a hazardous substance? Are cleaning chemicals hazardous? If they are, how will you know what type of hazard they pose? Then we'll run through some Kosh do's and Kosh don'ts, things that we must always do and things that we must never do when using chemicals. Then we will touch on health and safety from both a PPE point of view and a first aid point of view. We will look at our product labels, our colour-coded system, Kosh signage, and then we will conclude. Now, why do we clean? Well, there are a number of good reasons for thorough cleaning. Cleaning creates a comfortable, positive public image. Nobody wants to see a dirty kitchen, a dirty bedroom or washroom or any other area for that matter. Least of all, the environmental health officer, who will close you down if you are not cleaning. So there's a legal element to it as well in order to avoid closure. Cleaning also prevents the spread of harmful bacteria and cross-contamination, which can lead to infection and worse. It also extends surface life and reduces the need for maintenance on appliances and machines. So what is Kosh? Well, Kosh stands for Control of Substances Hazardous to Health, and Kosh is a legal requirement whereby employers must control substances that are being used on their sites. So, what is a hazardous substance? Well, anything could be a hazardous substance, really. It might be a substance used directly in a work activity, a substance generated during a work activity. Naturally occurring substances can be hazardous, as can biological agents. Are cleaning chemicals hazardous? If used incorrectly, yes, they can be. If they are used incorrectly, then cleaning chemicals could irritate or even burn your skin, damage your eyes, damage your lungs, or poison you. Now, the Delphis Eco chemicals have been designed with both the health and well-being of the user and also the health and well-being of the wider environment. So, we have minimized the use of hazardous ingredients. However, some hazard remains and caution must be exercised. How will you know what type of hazard chemicals pose? Well, you need to check the Kosh hazard symbol. These symbols changed in 2015, so please make sure you have the most up-to-date versions. Kosh do's. When we are using chemicals, we must always read Kosh sheets and bottle labels. We have a safety data sheet booklet that you should have either in your chemical store cupboard, in your office, or both, and that is a great point of reference should you need safety data sheets or wall charts. Also, refer to product guides and this training video. Always remember to wear your PPE, that's your personal protective equipment. Always remember to store chemicals safely and securely. Always remember to use the recommended dilution ratios, and if you're unsure or in doubt about anything at all, please ask your manager. Kosh don'ts. We must never ever mix chemicals. For obvious reasons, we don't know what we might create and it's potentially very dangerous. So please don't mix chemicals. Just to reiterate the point that I've just made, don't overdose and use the incorrect dilution ratio. Don't put chemicals into an unlabeled container. It could be very confusing and lead to potentially dangerous situations. Don't use chemicals from an unlabeled container. And for the same reasons, don't leave chemicals unattended. Please also do not use a chemical not approved by your company or for any other purpose than the one it has been designed for. One example of what can happen when mixing chemicals: if you mix ammonia with bleach, you create mustard gas that will poison anybody that walks into the room. So please do not mix chemicals. And just to emphasize, overdosing and using the incorrect dilution ratio is counterproductive. It might be tempting to think that if we advise you use 1 pump into a spray bottle, that 5 pumps may do 5 times the job. In actual fact, that would be counterproductive, because when you're diluting chemicals, you're dealing with super concentrates, which are really, really strong. The more chemical you put down onto a surface, the more chemical you have to take back up off that surface, resulting in more work for you, and ultimately you'll be left with sticky floors, sticky surfaces, and a feeling that the product hasn't done the job, when in actual fact you've just used too much. So please don't overdose. Now on to health and safety from a PPE point of view. As I mentioned earlier, PPE is your personal protective equipment. Now it's important to remember that it's your employer who is responsible for providing, replacing and paying for PPE, but it's employees who are responsible for wearing PPE. PPE only protects the wearer. It's a case of individual responsibility. It's nobody else's job but yours to make sure that you're wearing the proper equipment to keep you safe in the job that you're doing. If it fails, then obviously PPE offers no protection at all, and it's also up to you to make sure you're happy with the way that your PPE is working, and if you're not, please take it up with your employer and have it replaced. On to first aid procedures. These procedures are last resorts, and if used correctly, if the products are used correctly, then these simply won't happen, but we must cover it just in case. So please remember, use products only as directed, do not mix different products, and seek medical attention if in discomfort or if any symptoms persist. Eye contact. Avoid contact with eyes. However, if a product does get into your eyes, rinse with cold water. Skin contact. Avoid contact with skin. However, if a product does get onto your skin, rinse with cold water and remove any contaminated clothing. Ingestion. Do not drink any products. However, if you do swallow some, then drinking water will be beneficial to dilute the product in your stomach. But please do not induce vomiting. Don't make yourself throw up, because if it's done some damage on the way down, it's only going to do twice the damage as it comes back up. Inhalation. Again, of course, avoid inhaling the product. However, if you do inhale some product, move to fresh air, and if you are still in discomfort, please seek medical attention. On to product labels. Now, our products have been designed to be as straightforward, simple and easy to understand as possible. They have the RON seal approval, if you will, which means they do what they say on the tin. So they don't have elaborate and hard to decipher names. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what they are. And on the front of each label, you also have product use. On the back of the labels, you'll find directions for use and dilution ratios, as well as the Koch hazard symbol. Now, at Delphis Eco, we adhere to the BICS colour system. That's the British Institute of Cleaning Science, and they have allocated green for sanitizing, red for washroom areas, and blue for general areas. So if you have a green Delphis Eco bottle, that's for sanitizer. If you have a red Delphis Eco bottle, that's for washroom cleaner. And if you have a blue Delphis Eco bottle, that is for your multi-purpose cleaner. We provide you with wool charts, both a cleaning guide wool chart and a dilution ratio wool chart. As much as the dilution ratios and directions for use for each product are on the back labels on the containers, I find it easier just to refer to the dilution ratio wool chart, because it's that much easier to find and simpler to understand. You'll find the name, the product use, dilution ratios, cleaning methods, and Koch hazard symbols all on our dilution ratio wool charts, along with the health and safety information On our cleaning guide wall charts, you'll see they follow our colour system, and they do have more colours than the 3 main BICS colours. Some of those products are periodic use products which won't be used every day. The most important thing to remember for manual dosing and dilutions is green for sanitizer. You use sanitizer in food preparation areas, food storage areas, hand contact points, healthcare environments. You use blue for multi-purpose cleaner. That is for all hard surfaces that are non-food prep, non-food storage, that don't need disinfecting. Multi-purpose cleaner, our blue bottled product, is the product to use in those environments, and red is our washroom cleaner for use in washrooms, bathrooms and wet areas. So to conclude, it's legislation that says we have a duty of care for ourselves, our colleagues and the general public, and you are key to this because you are using the chemicals. It's chemicals that used incorrectly will increase the environmental impact, increase the risk to yourselves and others, and increase risks to your employer. We're trying to do the opposite of all of those things, so please remember the training. Any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. You can find details on our website, and we are always happy to help. Thanks for your time today.